This is the weekly update dated November 5th, 21 for the 5-minute production incubation project. In the last few weeks, we saw the introduction of project's infrastructure Google Cloud page, within which there was a listing of service accounts. And then we saw the workflow for the creation of service account and service account keys. And these created keys and service accounts were persisted as GitLab project CI vars. When I shared this merge request for review, the first feedback that I got was this MR is pretty large, and I was requested to splitting this up into smaller MRs, which could be easier to review, therefore allowing for a quicker merge. Thus, I created two MRs. The first MR that was extracted was 73569, which introduced access restrictions for project Google Cloud page. So this MR does a few things. It checks if the feature flag is enabled or not. If the feature flag is not enabled, then access to the Google Cloud page is forbidden. Similarly, we also check if the GitLab instance has been configured for Google OAuth 2. If it hasn't been, we show a relevant message and then we forbid access. And the third check is related to the user's role, whether the member accessing the page is a project maintainer or owner. If they are not either of these two roles, then access is restricted as well. This MR went through the review process and it was finally merged. So this was the first merge request that was merged this week. And shout out to a few people who helped me with a proper review, a good review. The first one is Gary Holtz. He helped with the review. Shashi Kumar Kumarasan also helped with the review. And the final name I must take is Jan Pravasnik, who was very helpful. And with the contribution of these three team members, we were able to merge this into master. The second MR merged this week was 73735, which introduced the front end for the Google Cloud page, including the service accounts list. If you go to this MR, you see it does a few things. It introduces the front end for the Google Cloud page, including the three tabs. The configuration tab is enabled while deployment and services are disabled for now. Then it introduces the service account list, for which there is empty state view, and of course, if data has been passed, if service accounts do exist, you see a table with a button to create another service account. Again, this merge request was reviewed and merged. Shout out to a few reviewers who helped me with this. I think a bulk of the review was done by Paul Gasco Vaillancourt. I'm sure I mispronounced this name, but Paul, thank you for the review. And also shout out to Savas and Olena, who were really kind with their maintainer review as well, and Natalia, who merged it. So this was the second merge request that was merged this week. The plan for next week is more of the same. I would like to extract out some other parts of the original piece of work into tiny MRs that can be merged. I will try to target creation and merging of two MRs. The first one would implement the backend for the service accounts list so that you don't see mock data, you see the real data. And the second thing I would like to merge is the front end for the create service account form. Again, code for all of this was created in most of October, but it's just a matter of packaging it as small MRs in a way that they can be easily reviewed and merged. That's the goal for next week. See you later.